fellow organizers. We're about to cover the new AV Activist Hub that's been redesigned. And David, I'm going to let you do most of the talking, and I'm just going to interject where I have questions. And at the end of this, we're going to give you guys some objectives, right? Maybe at least one, like add everybody in your region so you know how to use this. But yeah, I'll leave it to you, David.
Cool, thank you so much. So essentially, there are two parts to Activist Hub. The first part is the social part, and the second part is the data part. So I'll go over the social part, which is pretty easy and fast. Essentially what it is, it's like Facebook. You can create groups, you can create events, you can add friends, you can make posts and kind of do almost all the same things that you would do on Facebook. You can do on AV's Hub. So I will go over the site real fast, just so you can kind of see and get an overview of what that looks like. So right now we're on the homepage, kind of like where you get your news feed, and you can see all these different posts that have been made. If you go to groups, you'll find not all of them, but most of AV's groups here. So for example, I want to find Amsterdam. So I'll do a search here. And here's the group page for Amsterdam. And so from here, you can see any posts that have been made. You can see the group members that are part of it, where we meet up, and the upcoming events for this group. And so essentially, just like Facebook, you can make posts here and make friends and talk and chat in your groups. If your group isn't already on here, you could do a search. If your group is already on here, you can just email us and we'll make you organizer of that group. If you can't find your group on here, then email us with your group's information. So the location and the name and such, and we'll get you on here. But yeah, I'll show you profiles. So if you click on my profile, everyone has a profile, they're on newsfeed, what groups they're a part of, your friends list. So I can click on Paul's profile. And yeah, so that's kind of just a simplistic view of Activist Hub is all that. You can also find events. You can see today's events and past events. Organizers can create events. And yeah, let's just view one event here. And you can RSVP to events. So you can see who's attending an event, what group this event is part of, where the location is. You can add it to your calendar. Yeah, I can't stress how much this is pretty much like Facebook. So if you've ever been on Facebook, you'll pretty much get the hang of everything that's going on here pretty easy. Yeah, then you can search for groups and events and different profiles and people that are on here. And so that's essentially, oh yeah, of course you have messages, so you can send messages to each other like Messenger. And then you also have notifications, so you can see all the different things that are occurring. So yeah, if you want to message other activists or make friends of activists, you can do this. If you don't like Facebook, it's a fantastic platform. Obviously, we don't sell any data. There's no weird like algorithms to keep you on the site. It's just very normal stuff. So yeah, hopefully if you don't like Facebook, you'll like this. And that's the, yeah, basically the social side of Activist Hub. So I think that's the part that most people will understand pretty easy. Excuse me. The next part is the data part of Activist Hub, which is really, really cool. And it's pretty easy to understand. So the way it works is, let's say you run a cube in Amsterdam and you hand out your cards to go to Cube of Truth. But you want to actually find out what people are doing with your cards. Like, are they going home and are they watching Dominion? Are they, like, what are they doing with these cards? And are they even actually visiting the website? And what are they doing once they visit the website? So now you can figure that out with Activist Hub. And you have to do absolutely nothing new. So essentially what happens is when people go to cubeoftruth.com, they'll get this little pop-up. and it'll just say, where did you find this? So we'll type in Amsterdam and then just submit, and that's it. So now when you give out your cards to Cube of Truth at the Amsterdam chapter, and somebody comes here and they type in Amsterdam, everything that they do is now linked to your chapter on Activist Hub. So I'm going to show you how that exactly looks because it's really cool. Essentially what happens now is I typed in Amsterdam. So let's go to statistics and let's go to groups and we'll select Amsterdam as a filter. So you notice that there's only one action and one movie view for Amsterdam's chapter. But what happens if I click on Dominion? And let's say it inspired me to go vegan. And then I'll click on Norm as well. And I'll say it inspired me to do more research. And I could click on other resources as well, but let's say I'm just clicking around here. If we go back to the stats page and we go ahead and refresh and we check that group again, you'll see that there's now 3 actions instead of 1 action. And now there's 2 movie views and now there's 1 video view. So essentially we've been able to track exactly what's going on here. And now you can see your group's impact. You can also add how many conversations you had at your events. For every event that you do, it's going to count the volunteer time. So if your event goes from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. and you've attended the event, your volunteer time will go up by 2 hours. And so you can track how much time you've volunteered. You can also track how many hours of watch time, like how many minutes have people watched Dominion for and such. So it's really, really cool. And you can also see the breakdown. So you can see exactly which videos people have been clicking on in your group. So in your group, I just clicked on Dominion and I clicked on Norm. So Dominion went up by 1 and Norm went up by 1. And there are also other resources that AV can include. But yeah, that's essentially it. So now you don't have to do anything different. You can continue doing your cubes and chapters and continue giving out your cards. And whenever people come to cubeoftruth.com and they enter their city, you'll be able to track everything that's happening on this page in your Activist Hub group. And that's essentially it. There's one more thing. You can go to sharing and you can create your own link, your own Cube of Truth link. And same thing applies. You can track everything on this link. So if you are trying to convert friends or family, or you want to post information on your Instagram, you can create an online link just for you. And you can start tracking that and it'll just go to Cube of Truth and do the same thing. So that's essentially it.
Okay. All right. So I do have some questions.
Yeah.
And these are mainly coming from our organizers. So I'm sure some people might be thinking, well, first of all, the biggest one I think is having cubeoftruth.com translated and not just translated, but also friendly. In essence, what I mean is like Dominion being in the correct language for that region. And also there was some feedback that the Gary Yourofsky video yeah, that may also be important for us to have as a language friendly option. Just real quick though, I just noticed that we don't have the best speech you'll ever hear. We only have the best of.
Oh yeah, I think, let's see if we go to.
It's usually on there.
There it is.
Yeah, there it is. But see, there's a issue with that.
Yeah, it seems like the Amsterdam chapter has a different configuration of these videos. So initially what was able to happen was every chapter was able to select the different resources. So I think Amsterdam still had old resources selected. So this should be the new resources for every chapter. But yeah, this takes 2 seconds to fix. As for the languages, currently what happens with cubittruth.com is if you are in Spain and your browser is in Spanish, it will automatically detect that and load the entire website in Spanish. So it does that for every language now. And soon we'll be able to switch out the resources based on the language. So yeah, if you have a Spanish dominion or Spanish resources, if we detect that you are in a Spanish browser, then we'll show those Spanish resources to you. And so that's one of the next features coming up.
Right. So that's a big one for people to understand that, pardon me, Dominion will play in Spanish. It will have Spanish subtitles.
Yeah.
For that example that you made.
Yeah, it's a really advanced website. It's going to be really cool how the resources are able to swap based on that. And it'll be much more effective when people reach this page.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's really great news. And I think as an extension to this question, how does this apply to the hub? Will the hub also be translated?
Yes, so the hub also already translates based on your browser language. So it does it automatically, but pretty soon we'll have some flags up here so you can switch it manually to whatever you want as well. But yeah, all the translations are already actually in there. So a lot of the organizers have been messaging us with their translations. So it's already live.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. And if there are any errors whatsoever, any bugs, any comments or pieces of feedback that people want to make in order to improve this, they can just use that form, which I'll attach in the post that I make when I share this or the email blast that I put out.
Yeah, or they can also just message me directly on ActivistHub. For example, if you go to the homepage, you'll see my name pop up in a few places because I've been commenting and posting myself. And with that, you can just go to my profile and send me a message. So you just click on my profile, and then there'll be a little message button here next under my name.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for those who want to help with translations, ideally the regional organizers, but it could be others as well, would it be best for them to email you?
Yeah.
All right.
For
So
translations, an email would be great.
I'll add that in the post and the email blast.
That'd be perfect. Yeah.
So the idea is for our organizers to provide as much feedback as humanly possible and, you know, to chip away at this so that it's as perfect as we can possibly get it and make this the alternative platform we used, Facebook, ideally the primary platform. We won't come off Facebook entirely, but this is going to be alternative to Facebook that we will favor.
Yeah, that would be amazing. And it's also cool that that all of the data is being tracked as we speak with no extra work having to be done by any regional organizers or anyone. You could just keep handing out your Cube of Truth cards and it's already collecting data for the hub. And then ideally what you can do is you can compare with other groups in other cities. So Amsterdam can compare with a different city and say, hey, like, it looks like you're getting a lot of Dominion views or you're getting a lot of views on Gary's video. How are you able to do that? What do you know, and then you can, collaborate with each other and communicate. And hopefully improve your effectiveness.
Yeah. And if people want to give out the domain and say, hey, join the Activist Hub, it's av.activisthub.org. It's really easy.
Yep.
I think it's short and sweet. And I think another great thing is that this is our own space. It's our own hub. It's specific for what we do. Facebook is fantastic. And we have a lot of credit that we owe to Facebook, but it's not specifically designed for the work that we do. And we're, using the format that Facebook has provided. But with this, it's specifically geared towards the work that we do. So that's the great thing about it. And another great thing is, based on all the data that we collect, we will have things that we can implement, like for those who clock a certain number of volunteer hours, we can have achievements and things that people can work towards and set as goals for themselves. Like, I want to do 1,000 hours at Cubes, or, whatever it might be. And these are goals that we can set for ourselves as activists, which I think is awesome. We haven't implemented this to my knowledge yet, but this is something we can implement, right, David?
Yep, we have like badges coming up, so you can earn badges by getting a certain amount of watch time or hours and actions that will display on your profile.
I think that's great. I mean, it sounds a little bit corny, but I think it's awesome to set yourself goals as activists and work towards them. And it's just cool to know that we have some chapters that have been around for 5 years that reached their 5-year anniversary. And that's something that we can implement as well. If a chapter's been around for a long time, or if an organizer's been around for a long time, how many cubes that chapter. Yeah, and I think that kind of information is awesome to know. So, yeah, so that's just one thing that came to mind just now. But the data, like David says, is not even something we have to do as extra work. It's just part and parcel with this platform. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, we're really excited about it. And we work pretty fast. So if you have any feedback or find any bugs, we can usually fix those things really fast. We have 14 people working on this.
Yeah, so this is a big shout out to you, David, and your team over at Activist Hub. Thank you for putting this together, and hopefully we can see out this collaboration and get this off the ground and running, and hopefully this becomes our primary platform.
Yeah, I would love that. Thank you so much as well for all the great work you guys do.
All right, guys. Well, I hope that this presentation was enough for you to get your head around it. Let's give the organizers an objective.
Yeah, if you're not already signed up, sign up to av.activisthub.org and see if you can find your chapter. If you can find your chapter, join it and send a request to me, either via email or through Activist Hub, and I'll make you an organizer. If your group doesn't exist, send me a message as well about your group, and then we'll go ahead and add that group to Activist Hub. And once you're organizer of a group, you can start creating your events, update your group description, make a few posts, but more importantly, get everyone under you to sign up and add them as friends and add them to the group, and just kind of start integrating into the platform, so you can start using the social tools and start collecting data.
Yeah, I think a big one is adding everyone within your region.
Yeah.
Or obviously starting within your chapter, adding as many people as you can within your chapter. Well, volunteers won't be onboarded just yet, but if you have other organizers, and then within your region, I think it would be good for you to add everyone within that region. I think as a beginning, that would be a good goal. What else? Is there anything else that we can set as an objective for people to get their head around this?
Yeah, I suppose, are they going to create events? I guess not if the volunteers aren't on here yet.
No. That would be nice.
add other organizers as friends, and make a few posts in your group, so that when volunteers are ready to be onboarded, there's some content already in your group. So even something as simple as like a picture of your last event.
Cool. Yeah, something that you would do on Facebook, and I think that's a good objective. And I guess we won't overwhelm people. Let's just leave it at that. But once you've done those things, do as much as you feel that you can on this platform, because that will enable you to give as much feedback as you can. Just play around with it and give it a test drive.
Yeah. And my email is david@veganhacktivist.org. But Paul will include it.
Yeah, I'll put that in the post and the blast. All right, cool. Thank you, David. And I look forward to the feedback that we get.
Yeah, same.
All right, thanks, David.